Coming up this week on the OK Bloomer podcast.
So I Googled Kirk Douglas chin, and
Hey man, if you get the chance to take Justine Bateman to supper, you do it.
yeah, right?
Well, that's just lowbrow.
Yeah,
that's
there's something. Oh, come on. Oh, Boston cream guy.
I'm
Boston cream.
disappointed. I'm disappointed. What? That's a family donut.
Don't know about the future. Don't.
They don't care about the future, because they live it in the past. Sal and Curtis are taking all 5 seasons of Blossom to task.
You'll laugh, you'll cry. You'll be weak in the knees. This show's got more range than Nick on the keys.
Only gal in the house, and that's how she goes. One brother was a junkie, and the other one was.
Weekly lessons coming fast in the Russo flat. Blossom's teenage girl problems are as big as her hat.
So take your opinionations and make them shine. It's the OK Bloomer podcast, and it's about damn time.
Don't know. Don't know.
I don't know if it's true or not, Sal, but I heard you can't go home.
No, you can't go home.
And I swear, this was already an episode title, was it not? Or what am I thinking of?
No, I don't.
Because I went back, I was like, we've done this one already, but we had not.
No, just like the vague, dumb episode names are pretty par for the course for Blossom, that they're all just starting to bleed into each other now. This one doesn't even really make sense either.
I was gonna say, right off the bat, who the couldn't go home? It's an ongoing theme in my review, but we'll get to it.
I guess Alice? I don't know, because she...
But she is the only one that did go home.
That's true. That's true.
She went home harder than any other character.
So season 2, episode 11, You Can't Go Home, it first aired December 2nd, 1991.
I got a surprise for you.
Oh, bring it. I love it.
IMDb hit the bed this week.
Oh,
I
yeah?
can guarantee you I have the worst synopsis. I have the worst synopsis this week, okay? So try to bring it with your lazy Disney Plus.
I mean,
but IMDb is gonna just vomit words all over you.
I mean, Disney Plus is bad as usual, but it at least describes the episode in a way. So Disney Plus goes, Blossom and Six fantasize when Nick dates Six's mother.
Fantasize isn't really the word, but okay.
And they don't really date, but yeah, okay.
It's also true. I went for the first half and you went for the second half.
Yeah. Just none of it was good.
It's hard to be so wrong twice in one sentence, but good job. You really outdid yourself this week, Disney Plus.
Way to go, Disney Plus. The TV database says, after the Russos invite the Lemures for dinner, Six and Blossom hope their respective single parents will fall in love. But when they stay in Santa Monica overnight, Six gets very nervous.
That is the entire episode.
Pretty much, except for Alice.
Stuff.
So
Yeah.
let's hear IMDb. I can't wait.
Okay, ready for this sentence?
It's getting the award this week.
How great would it be if Nick and Six's divorcing mom got together? Or would it? How grammatically incorrect is that? How great would it be? Or would it? No. No, it's just grammatically incorrect. It should be if Six's divorcing mom and Nick got together, it would be great. Or would it? But how great would it be? How great or would it? That's not the second half. How great?
Well, also from the
or
first
would
part,
it?
say the first line again.
How great would it be if Nick and Six's divorcing mom got together?
To me, it sounds there like, is it Nick's mom? Is it Nick's mom and Six's mom that are getting together?
Whose mom? But
If
you can't
Nick and Six's mom.
answer a question with a question. What am I in therapy?
Yeah, right? What are you, a politician?
Or would it? Was this
God.
your favorite episode? Or would it?
All right, well, we better get into this because I actually have a lot of notes tonight.
Oh man, awesome! Let's do it.
I didn't mean to, but I do.
My preface to this week is I'm excited to see if they are already jumping on the whole whoa thing, which is established finally last episode, or if it's a slow burn. Like,
All right.
do they come out of the gates knowing they got the catchphrase and they're going to run with it? Or do they kind of forget about it and bring it up?
I mean,
episodes
how
later?
fast did like things like that travel? Because it's not like they go viral after the fact, right?
Yeah,
How do you know when it gets back to you that you're like, oh, this is a thing? But I like that you're on Whoa Watch.
That's brilliant.
Curtis is officially on Whoa Watch. Whoa Watch. We need like a stinger.
That's probably the happiest watch I've ever been on.
Right? Now it's time for Curtis's Whoa Watch.
I want to make a joke so bad, but I won't.
Okay. Let's get to the cold open.
Yeah.
So, Joey and Blossom are
Sorry.
You all right?
No, I'm good. I can't. You're going to cut the joke anyway, so I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, I know where you're going, and let's just preemptively edit it out right now.
Okay. All right.
So, cold open. Joey and Blossom are in the living room playing Scrabble. Joey puts down
Oh, you know it's going to be bad for Joey.
Right? He can't play Scrabble. Joey, what are you doing, man?
Why would Joey even play Scrabble?
And
But
right,
I get
and
it.
right away you get the answer because he plays the word Krelbow. Krelbow. Triple word score, 210 points. And Blossom says, that's not a word. And Joey says, yeah.
Joey!
Right?
That's not a word.
Yeah.
Robo!
Whoa, Krelbow. And then he says, it's the other side of your elbow.
Then Anthony comes in hot.
Yes.
He had his first ever celebrity patient in his ambulance. He's not allowed to say who it was, but he lets Joey and Blossom guess, and his hint is it's an actress from Family Ties. Now, Sal, I know you felt this way too, because we are both such fans of South Park. You made me a fan of South Park, but how bizarre was it to see something dropping the names like Meredith Baxter Bernie
And Tina
Yothers,
right?
where they're not making fun of them.
I know,
This
right?
is real. But you assume they're making fun of them because nobody mentions Tina Yothers unless it's in a mocking way. But this was legit. And my mind couldn't catch up.
The only two things I know about Tina Yothers is Family Ties, and they made fun of her on South Park.
100%.
But right away, my mind actually went to Justine Bateman.
Well, yeah, of course. He's not gonna be excited if the other two are in the ambulance.
Yeah, I guess so.
So sorry, to go back to the beginning, yeah, he goes, hint, it's an actress from Family Ties, and Blossom gets all excited and immediately drops Meredith Baxter Bernie, which I thought was really funny because nobody knows who that is.
Yeah,
You could
right.
not find, even back in 1991, nobody could name the mom from Family Ties. which was like, I think that was almost a joke. You know, I think that was almost a shot at her. With our love.
Sha-la-la-la.
There's that one scene of Michael J. Fox in the kitchen, and he's like cooking real fast. He's like closing the oven with his foot and spinning around.
Yeah,
And,
that's
oh,
right,
what have
yeah.
you done, Michael? You're in over your head. I think they're making fun of Meredith Baxter Bernie because of all the women on Family Ties. That would be the lamest one and the one nobody knows, right?
Right? Yeah, totally.
It'd be like, oh yeah, there's an actor from Family Ties. And like the male one would have been Skippy, like whoever Skippy's real name was, you know, like nobody knows. Anyway, so her initials are JB, and Jody goes, Tina Yothers, which is also really funny because how many people have you ever met with a last name that starts with the letter Y?
Yeah,
I
right?
thought that joke played out really well about how stupid Joey could be, because like you couldn't get a more wrong answer from initials JB than going with the last name Yothers.
Well, plus they're playing Scrabble, so there's some irony in that there, too.
So we're off to a hot start, but then out of nowhere, they bring it back around, Sal.
So, yeah, Tony says it's Justine Bateman, and she was chased out of a poetry reading, whatever the that means, and she
Right?
fell down and hurt her arm, and then he goes, right here, between her wrist and her Krelbow.
Then bam,
And that's the
opening
call.
theme
And then
song.
it, like, but did you notice how quick it cut into the
That's
intro?
what I mean. It was just like the minute he said O from Krellbo was like, don't know about the future.
It was like, did nobody laugh in the audience? And they were like, just bail out of this. Just bail out of this.
No, they probably laughed for so long that they had to just cut it. They're like, we don't have time for this. We got to lose like 30 seconds of the show, and it's got to be this.
I don't know, man.
Here.
I wrote about the callback to Krellbo. I was like, that one was reaching. I was like, who does that joke appeal to? Like,
I thought it was great, to be honest.
All right, then you apparently.
They rarely live in the fantasy realm in this show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
I'm sure it wasn't, but I wonder if that was even like Anthony's kind of ad lib for one take, and they were like, let's use it. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's why they cut out of it.
Maybe, but then that means
like,
that there was like no actual joke at the end of the episode. Or at the end of the scene.
Maybe he said that really quickly and then went into the joke. That they wrote for him.
Maybe you're right.
And then and then they were like, no, in editing they were like, you know what, that's actually way funnier.
This plays out better. Yeah,
and
I never thought about
cut
that.
It hard. That's probably what. I just thought about that right now.
Well, you're giving them a lot of credit there. So just for fun, I googled Krellbo, and it's on Urban Dictionary, and it's hilarious. I have to read it.
Do it.
Urban Dictionary says Krellbo, and it says the other side of your elbow. And then,
shut up.
Well, it's on Urban Dictionary. Let's get things.
But still.
Yeah.
Is that because of Blossom?
Well, I wondered. It was added in 2004, so I mean, well, obviously it wasn't added in 1991, but so the definition is sometimes people get eczema there, but I'm only really mentioning that so that the definition is longer. And then And then the example sentence says, she slit her wrist straight up to the Krellbos.
Oh, no! That's the watch I was talking about. That's the other watch I'm on.
Amazing.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
That's pretty funny. That's a great example of when you use Krellbo.
Yeah, now you know.
Okay. So it asks me if I want to skip the intro. I do not. And I don't know why, but Blossom's ridiculous, like green tank with black shorts and pink leggings covered in like flowers really just... I don't know why. It's like I saw it again for the first time this week and I was like, I wonder if there's got to be a girl out there who went as that for Halloween. That outfit is so ridiculous, you would know it's Blossom. You know what I mean?
I think you should do that for Halloween.
Yeah. Gotta do some sit-ups. The tank top isn't a good look currently. Yeah, let's do it. Judy D. Allison is back.
JDA.
Followed by Bill Richmond. Nick is teaching Joey to shave, so I'm expecting a jump cut where Anthony comes in the front door and the whole house is covered in blood just smeared all over the walls and stairs.
It's like that scene from The Shining.
He's like lying under the table, trying to crawl to the back door. Whoa. Whoa. Just big streaks of blood through the kitchen. Whoa.
Oh, I cut up to my Krellbos. Whoa.
And Anthony's like, oh my god, you didn't get any of Dad's blood on you, did you?
Yeah, you want to stay away from that.
Because that's got... He took a test and got Hep A, B, C, and D. Rochelle Rosette Schaefer is the third supervising producer. And for the first time, I realized those three are just in alphabetical order. I assumed J.D. Aldi was like the most important. But no, it's just alphabetical.
Episode written by Portia Iverson.
Yeah. You missed Goldstein and Price are back. And give me what I need. RWE, Roxy Wank Evans is back. Peppering her low-brow blue humor into this thing for another week.
That's our girl.
If it was up to her, it would all be dick jokes.
Yeah, totally.
That's why there's 6 of them. Yeah, so I didn't get this joke. He's telling Joey how to shave. He goes, you have to be careful when you do your chin, or you'll end up looking like Kirk Douglas. Sal, I don't get it.
I didn't get it either, so I Googled Kirk Douglas chin. And... and after he died, Vanity Fair wrote an article tribute to him, and the very first paragraph says, sure, you can't discuss Kirk Douglas without mentioning the chin. That famously dimpled chin, which you'd never believe on a statue, nonetheless gave the Hollywood icon a granite jaw that served him well as a leading man for more than 60 years. The chin made him a star, but the eyes made him an actor.
Wow, poetry.
There you go.
Or is it?
Or is it? Yeah, maybe the guy from IMDb wrote this Vanity Fair article.
I don't even know he was dead, to be honest.
Yeah, he died recently.
I had no idea Kirk Douglas had a dimpled chin.
Me neither.
I don't know what is Kirk Douglas famous for? Like, take me to like the 80s and 90s and 2000s.
He's famous for Michael Douglas,
Okay.
isn't he? He's Michael Douglas's father, wasn't he?
Oh, maybe I'm getting them mixed up. What was was Michael Douglas like Basic Instinct or that other one?
Yeah, he was Wall Street.
All right.
He's married to
I don't know.
what's her name? She's got 3 names.
We're good at this.
Yeah. Joey's worried about a history paper about Richard Nixon. They assigned it to months ago, and it's due the day after tomorrow. And Nick says, you've given yourself an extra day, which I thought was pretty funny. I could totally relate to that. I was always
for sure.
Whenever I had to write an essay, I always just did the whole thing the night before.
And his response, yeah, I don't like to work under pressure. Do-do-ch, do-do-do-do, do-do-ch, do-do-do-do, blink.
People on streets.
Do-do-do-do.
Ba-da-dee-da-dee. People on streets.
It's a town unknown. The world's all about. Neither of us know the words. So Joey goes, I'm getting a really smooth shave. And Nick goes, Joey, you haven't even taken the guard off the razor.
Oh, that's our Joey.
I thought he'd look in the mirror and go, whoa, with like the Home Alone hands.
Yeah, right?
I was waiting for that, but no. Guess they're not getting sued this week.
No. The only other thing I wrote about this scene was Nick in a blue wife beater is very unsettling for some reason.
It totally is. Oh, God. You know, that was the last thing some of those ladies ever saw.
Right? As he takes them into his Dexter room full of plastic.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Well, yeah. Not quite yet he doesn't, but eventually that's where they end up. So upstairs, the gals dance. I wrote, well, Jenna Von Oy dances. I'm not sure what Mayim does.
I don't know, man. I tried to pay attention to Mayim's dancing because you pointed this out before. I don't think she's that bad.
All right, man.
Blossom's dressed like she's going to a job interview, but she actually looked pretty stylish in this scene.
Yeah, it was...
Six's outfit and her hair looks like she's going to a christening.
They're on separate paths today, Sal.
Oh, totally.
The phone rings, and it's for Six.
Blossom wants her to ask her mom if she can stay over, and then Six says she can't come home because they're in the middle of doing homework.
Blossom wants her to stay, but Six thinks she should go be with her mom because since her dad left, all she does is iron and watch old Elvis movies. And I said, hey, that sounds like a pretty rad life. Maybe I should look into this divorce thing. I like Elvis.
Honey, it's over.
I want to iron and watch Elvis movies all day. That sounds amazing. It sounds way better than what I've got going on right now. Wise men say only fools rush in.
I have never seen an Elvis movie.
I'm not sure I have either.
I'm not even big on Elvis.
I didn't think I was a big Elvis fan either, and then I watched Lilo and Stitch, which I don't know if you've seen that, but the whole Disney soundtrack to Lilo and Stitch is oddly Elvis. And they actually South Park Elvis in that. They carry around an Elvis album that's actually like a JPEG of a real Elvis record, and they drag it around the animated Disney world of Lilo and Stitch. How bizarre is that?
That is bizarre. I've never seen that movie.
It looks like South Park. It's like a real
We've
photo.
talked about this, but I saw The Lion King in theaters when I was 8 years old, and after the 8-year-old Sal was like, yeah, I don't think Disney movies are going to get better than this. And I until recently, until I started going through them with my son, I never watched a Disney movie after Lion King.
You should have walked away, my friend. It really didn't get better than that. Six says when her parents split, her dad got all their friends. I said, that's pretty funny. Because then she followed it up with, Mom got Six and the dog, and then the dog ran away.
Yeah. And then she explains how they looked and put up posters and offered a reward. And Blossom goes, I'm talking about your dad. And Six goes, so am I.
Then Blossom gets this light bulb idea and says they should invite her mom over for supper.
Yes.
And they start daydreaming about Six's mom dating Blossom's dad. And it escalates where Six moves in with Blossom and then gets to see Joey naked. That's where it ends up.
Yeah, well, Blossom was excited that she would have a mother. And Six was excited that she might get to see Joey naked. And there's woos from the crowd.
I was going to say a couple ladies in the crowd come unglued at that.
Okay, but think about it. Like, how old is Joey Lawrence here in real life?
He's probably like 24.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
I have no idea.
Well, it just makes me wonder, because, like, if somebody had made a joke about, like, oh, maybe I'll get to see Six naked, and there was guys in the crowd going, oh, like, that's not cool.
Yeah,
There's a lot of woos when it comes to, like, sexualized Joey. And I find it very odd because he's like 15 years old.
I wanted to be with you on that, but I think they could make that joke about Six. I don't think they can make it about Blossom. Because Joey's made some pretty racy jokes about women
Yeah,
that the
I
crowd
know.
has liked.
But yeah, okay. I don't know. I'm just looking more so.
No,
at,
I get what you're saying. If you would have said Blossom, I would have been like, yeah, absolutely. But a secondary character, maybe. I don't know. But Joey's thing.
If
is he's
somebody
dumb and
said that
hot,
about
right?
Blossom, I just picture like, you know, Charlie's uncle and Sunny Philly. He'd be the only one in the audience that'd be like, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna make this right. So Blossom says, yeah, I guess there would be some drawbacks, like seeing her brother naked. And
Yeah.
Six goes to leave, and they go, see you later, sis.
Yeah.
Then hard cut to Buzz annoying Nick while he's cooking.
Yeah.
And what do we have here? We have Buzz in a pink dress shirt with a sleeveless sweater vest over top of it. And can I do this part, Sal? Can you do this part?
Take it away.
So Buzz says if he were making the sauce, he would add some cayenne pepper. He reads the label of the cayenne pepper and he says to Nick, it's supposed to help masculinity. And if he were Nick, he'd put it on his balls. Direct shot. Buzz is my new favorite character.
You know what, man? I have to say, this was my favorite Buzz episode.
Every line he has lands this week, and I don't know what to do with myself.
I love at the beginning of this scene when Buzz goes to add the cayenne pepper to the sauce and Nick just swats him away with the spoon. He just hits his hand.
Why did he work this week? I mean, we'll explain as we go, but oh my god, he had the best lines of this episode.
It's because it wasn't the typical sleazy Buzz. It was like old man Buzz. He was annoying, and then he was kind of endearing when it came to Alice.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to bang her, and it was like he was like really nice with her, and it was just like, man, okay, he's kind of redeeming himself here. But yes, he didn't directly say balls. He called them grape nuts, and then we got Nick's famous eye roll.
Supposed to help. Number one, could you imagine if you were the cayenne pepper manufacturers and decided to put increases masculinity on the label?
Yeah, but wasn't the joke too that it wasn't in an actual bottle? It was like one of those like jars that you put spices in at home that are empty that you just label cayenne pepper.
Oh, so it came from like an apothecary, like a witch made it?
Yeah, well, okay, sure.
Before Nick can drown Buzz in the sink, Blossom walks in and asks if they can invite Six and her mom over for supper. He says, sure. And Buzz is like all over this scenario because Buzz wants her for himself.
I said Buzz becomes horny at the thought of a nice, fresh divorcee. His words, not mine.
Yeah, exactly. Buzz goes from 0 to Adam Duritz in like 2 seconds.
Nick tells him not to hit on her, and Buzz says, come on, there's no one more sensitive than the old Buzzer. Which, I like that nickname, by the way. And then this part actually, I think, made me laugh the hardest out of the entire episode. It's a hard cut to the dinner table when everybody's sitting around the table, and Buzz says to Six's mom, so, what's it like to sleep in that big empty bed all to yourself, huh?
I wrote that's 2 in a row for Buzz.
Oh my, dude, I don't think I laughed harder this entire episode.
It was so good.
Yeah. I had to pause it because I was laughing when I took that note. And when I paused it, it was like a wide shot of the table and everybody was looking shocked. And then Buzz was just stuffing his face with spaghetti. And it made me laugh even harder.
So someone asks Joey how his Nixon assignment is going, and he says it's in the toilet. And Nick goes, how fitting. And Six's mom laughs. So if you're keeping score, the play Nick is running is to humiliate his idiot son to get into Six's mom's pants.
Yeah, right. But I wrote that they threw in that line about Joey's assignment just so that we remember what he's doing this episode.
I pressed pause right here to catch up on my notes, and when I looked up, I saw Anthony with an old lady in the living room, and my jaw dropped, and I prayed to God he thought this was Justine Bateman. And that's where the episode was going. Hey guys, meet Justine Bateman from Family Ties.
I kind of thought that
And
too.
nobody had the heart to tell him. And on the rest of the episode, he was bragging about banging the girl from Family Ties. Come on, guys. I'd like to go to the mall, but people are gonna, just be all over Justine Bateman for autographs.
It's not that he just walks in with her, but they're holding hands. And I was like, what is going on here? So
he's on the drugs again. This is the episode they pull the trigger of Anthony falls off the wagon and he thinks he's dating Justine Bateman, who's some 80-year-old woman. Oh my god. They missed the boat on the greatest Blossom episode possible.
Yeah, so he introduces her, says her name is Alice, and then asks if she can stay for dinner. So they set up.
Here, I made myself laugh, Sal. I don't know if anybody remembers the song, but I wrote, Alice, Alice, who the F is Alice? Do you remember that dance mix song?
No.
It's super obscure. It's like, for 24 years I've been living next door to Alice. Alice, who the F is Alice? It was popular for like 2 months back in like the mid-90s when we had that crappy dance music phase.
It got a whole 2 months?
Yeah, it was about 2 months.
Yeah, so then Tony sits down at the table with her and puts his arm around her, and I'm like, what's happening here?
Hey, man, if you get the chance to take Justine Bateman to supper, you do it.
Yeah, right? So you kind of figure out pretty quickly what's going on here with Alice.
Nick asks, so how did you two kids meet? Oh, man.
She asked him if he was going to vote today, and then Nick's like, I wasn't aware that there was an election. And then Tony says, yeah, she asked me if I was voting for Eisenhower. And then he points to his head and goes, in 1956? And then I wrote, let's see how Portia Iverson handles dementia jokes.
But then she goes, even though he is the right man for the job. Yeah. It made me laugh because that's such a, mom and dad thing to say about a politician.
Right, yeah. And then everybody at the table, understands what's going on. And then Joey, with another banger of a line, goes, what is this, Quantum Leap? And I wrote, the backs!
Call back.
Back to the backs.
Back. If you know the episode, insert that clip now.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so he goes, what is this, Quantum Leap? And then Buzz looks at him with disgust, which for some reason is great. Yeah. This is the first time Joey doesn't just get a free pass for being an idiot. Buzz is like, can you not? So why is Buzz landing everything in this episode?
Right. Yeah, it's his time to shine this week. So they ask her if they wonder if anyone's looking for her. And she's like, yeah, I don't think anybody should be looking for me. And I was like, is that supposed to be funny? Because everybody laughs at her.
Yeah, I don't know.
Everybody laughs at this poor old lady. She says she works at the White House.
I'm just staring at Buzz at the table because this poor man is an overload. He's looking back and forth between a recent divorcee and a lady with dementia. And that dirty mind of his is just in double time right now. The man has plans.
He might
stroke out. The man has
out.
plans.
He may have a stroke right here.
She says she's coming home from her job at the White House and got lost. And Joey goes, whoa, let me get my tape recorder.
So we get another whoa. So is this whoa number 13 or is this whoa number 2? Because
it's both.
13? Oh my God, this is going to be so hard to keep track of.
So Joey starts interviewing her about Richard Nixon. And Sharon helps Nick clear the table and the girls squeal.
Blossom and Six are super giddy about it. And then they follow them into the kitchen with the dishes. Then back at the table, Joey's asking, why she thinks it's the past. Anthony's trying to do a runaround way of the world's not the same as, he's like, history's not the same to her as it is to you right now just because of what's going on in her mind. And then Joey's like, oh, well, what does that make geography to her?
Yeah.
And then Tony just straight up calls him an idiot.
Well, when they're so mean to Joey, it's not, I don't know.
It's not obvious.
Such a hard line.
They don't straight out just be like, dude, you're a moron. But that's basically what happened here.
Yeah, it's weird when they do that. It takes all the charm out of Joey's character.
I thought that too. It stood out to me.
Yeah, I didn't track that too. So I was like, that didn't really pay off. The you're an idiot just kills it dead. And then you just kind of feel bad for Joey. But so Alice says, yeah, the U.S. will put a man on the moon by 1970. That's what they claim, but it'll never happen. And Buzz goes, want to bet $20? Then Joey goes, oh, I'll take you up on that.
Yeah. I just love how Buzz tries to exploit a woman with dementia.
Well, it's better than trying to sleep with her.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess that's
the lesser of two evils.
Yeah. So in the kitchen, Six's mom starts crying, and then I thought Blossom and Six went into the kitchen with them, but
they disappeared.
I guess we figure out that this is later on. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, Sharon's hair is just something else. It is so huge, even by 1991 standards.
Yeah.
It's like a hood. And she has this moment where she does this huge speed-talking soliloquy like her daughter's 6, but they never connect those dots.
No, but I don't think they needed to. I think it was just obvious enough.
I didn't give them enough credit, though, because you would expect, like, Nick to be like, oh, like mother, like daughter.
Yeah.
Maybe that got cut.
Could
Because it's not like them to leave that joke hanging in the air.
She goes into this rant, and then at the end, she basically says that she's a mess and almost anything can make her cry. And then Buzz comes strutting into the kitchen.
No, Sal, no.
Okay.
She apologizes for being a basket case. And somewhere a young Billy Joe Armstrong is like, nice. Nick has time to listen to her whine. Wait a second, that's it! And February 1st, 1994, the world was never the same again when they dropped Dookie. All thanks to this episode of Blossom.
You know, I gotta say, I was never, ever a fan of Green Day.
Wow, oh my god. So you're the guy that doesn't like Green Day.
I hate Green Day, man. I hate them.
They are the poster boys for basically selling out. I remember that was Jay Neufeld's Green Day joke. It was like, hey, I'm from 1994 visiting you in the future to warn you Green Day is only going to make ballads for the next 20 years. Which is such a weird Jay Neufeld joke to even care about Green Day, but I was like, you're right. I think their first album is phenomenal, and after that it's like, eh.
Yeah, I could probably agree with that, because if I were to listen to any Green Day song, it'd be any song off of that album.
Dookie from start to finish is pretty darn solid. Like, even the tracks that are unpopular are pretty darn good.
Cool.
Then after that, they kind of nosedived. They did Good Riddance, Time Your Life, and we're like, whoa, we made more money off that one song than everything else combined, so let's just keep writing drippy songs. And I can't blame them, you know?
Yeah.
Run to the money, not away from it.
I guess so.
So yes, she says everything makes her cry, which... What is happening? We're in Bizarro World. What happens next?
Yeah, so Buzz comes strutting into the kitchen looking like a red beret. And and he says he's going out to get the kid some ice cream. And then she starts bawling. And he's like, all right, fine, I'll get you some too.
Like, again, I laughed out loud about that.
Right?
His delivery of that, so good.
So then this is where Nick starts swooping in on a vulnerable woman, starts consoling her and asks her out for coffee.
Is he thinking what we think he's thinking, or is he actually just being a nice guy here?
Well, it's the way that they've written Nick in the past, it's hard to tell, right?
Yep.
So yeah, he starts hugging her, and then as they start hugging, Six and Blossom open the door to the kitchen, and they both look shocked.
We go upstairs, and the reality of what is happening is setting in for the girls, and suddenly Six is like, he's gonna try to bang my mom.
Yeah.
And Blossom is telling Six that no, my dad is a stand-up guy, and I was expecting a hard cut to like Nick giving it to her behind a dumpster, like, say my name with an Irish accent, say it with an Irish accent.
Oh, I bring her name up later on. It's somewhere in my notes here.
And this is like getting real. Blossom goes, he's probably just talking her ear off, and Six goes, more like talking her dress off.
Yeah.
And I wrote, but Six, she wasn't wearing her dress when she left, but I appreciate the joke.
Six calls him some kind of crazed animal. And then Blossom's like, come on, don't call him that. And she goes, oh, please.
She acts like father knows best around the house. I wrote, does he?
Yeah, right?
But he's probably an animal in the streets. And then she lists Jimmy Swaggart, Clarice Thomas, and Richard Simmons as perverts. Okay, Jimmy Swaggart was a pervert.
Okay, well, yes. I didn't even know who Jimmy Swaggart was, and I looked him up. October 11, 1991, Swaggart was found in the company of a prostitute for a second time.
Yeah, which sucks when you're like the top TV evangelist.
Yeah, right? And we were talking about evangelists a few episodes ago. That checks out.
We talk about evangelists all the time, so that's
true.
Like 3/4 of our conversation.
He was pulled over by a police officer in California for driving on the wrong side of the road. With him in the vehicle was a woman named Rosemary Garcia. According to Garcia, Swaggart had...
Roxy Wake Evans!
Swaggart had stopped to propose sex to her on the side of the road. She later told reporters, he asked for sex. I mean, that's why he stopped me. That's what I do. I'm a prostitute.
Thanks.
Yeah, so then Nick calls. He tells Blossom not to wait up. They went to Santa Barbara, and they're not sure when they're coming back.
I wrote Six's shoulders have disappeared. Or her neck has disappeared. I mean, her shoulders are part of her head now. And they fade to commercial break with too many cooks and flute.
Yeah, Six is freaking out. Both of them are pacing in her room, and Blossom's trying to calm her down. And he says he takes women to Santa Barbara all the time. And even the crowd knows that's bullshit. Because they go, oh.
But before that, Six sarcastically says, oh yeah, Blossom, they're probably there just grunion hunting. And I wrote, what the F is a grunion? So I Googled it, and grunions are a species of fish that leave the water at night to spawn on beaches during the spring and summer months throughout Southern California.
Weird.
I had no idea. Very specific, very regional joke.
Yeah, no kidding.
Also, grunion hunting is actually probably what Nick Russo actually calls sex. So
right.
They were both right.
Yeah, they're both technically right there. Blossom says to her, it's a long drive back from Santa Barbara, so why don't we just go to bed? And Six says, that's the same line your dad is probably using on my mom.
Yeah, before when she says, yeah, he takes women up to Santa Barbara all the time. Yeah, the audience feels Six's pain, as you mentioned. Jenna Von Oyno sells it and goes, I'll tell her that. She'll feel very special. So downstairs, Nick and Alice and Anthony are watching TV, and Buzz says, the guy with the monkey ran the country. And she goes, Ronald Reagan? And he says, yeah, well, his wife and an astrologer. And I don't get it.
Well, first he talks about how it's Ronald Reagan with a chimp. I had to look that up. Mental Floss has an article called The Time Ronald Reagan Was Nearly Strangled by a Chimp. And he co-starred with a chimpanzee called Bedtime for Bonzo. Came out in 1951. It provided him with long-running source of embarrassment after his political career took off decades later. The movie, according to Johnny Carson, was an old favorite of movie buffs and Democrats, while other critics went on to cite Reagan as the first president in history to be outacted by a chimp. And apparently on the set of the movie, the chimp grabbed his necktie and tried to strangle him.
Awesome.
So yeah, we learned here that Alice's name isn't Alice. There was an Alice Cooper song on the radio when Tony found her.
And being December 1991, it was probably Poison, which is like Alice Cooper's greatest song, so good for you. I'd rename myself Poison if I was crazy and heard an Alice Cooper song too. No, I'd name myself Alice if I heard Poison on the radio and I was crazy.
I was going to say, you name yourself Poison?
I don't know. I have dementia too, okay? Leave me alone.
Oh, jeez. So then Alice remembered that she was a waitress at a club called the Cat's Pajamas. Buzz happened to play there back in the day. And then I was waiting for the joke where she remembers having sex with Buzz, but that doesn't happen. Thank God.
This is almost a tender moment.
Yeah, she remembers the pianist playing Moon River. She remembers that he kind of looked like Buzz, but then she was like, no, you had hair. And then Buzz goes, I've got hair back at the hotel. So Buzz does live in a hotel? I don't know.
It couldn't be him because he had hair, and the audience feels real pain for Buzz for some reason. And Buzz goes, I have hair. It's back at the hotel, which is also a funny joke. And then I'm sitting here drumming my fingers on the table wondering, okay, maybe back in the day, Buzz fed this poor woman so many roofies, he eventually wiped her mind, and it's not dementia after all.
That also checks out. That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah. So then Buzz tries to explain to her that it's 1991, and then she makes a joke about leaving her water running, which dementia.
Right? And then Tony gets a page. He gets paged back to work, leaving them alone. And I thought, ruh-roh.
Yeah, right? Something's going to happen here. But yeah, Buzz ends up playing Moon River for her on the piano, and he's like, come sit beside me. And it was just like he's playing the piano, and they're just sitting there, and there's a slow zoom out of the scene, and it was like a really redeeming moment for Buzz.
Yeah, and it ends on this really, really, really slow pull out.
Yeah.
And if Nick does the same, Blossom and Six are going to have a sibling.
God.
Too Many Cooks, the night edition. Six is still at the window waiting for them to come home.
Yes.
She says they're not back yet, but her neighbor is having an affair with the orthodontist. And Blossom says, I can't blame her. She has 3 kids with buck teeth.
Yeah.
The writing is so good this week.
Yeah.
It's just savage.
There was a lot to take in, so I didn't really take a whole lot of notes on this scene, but basically Six starts going off about how her mom is probably tied up in some hotel room with a sleazy musician. Then Blossom
Yes.
gets pissed, but that's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's coming to a head. The gals are straight up fighting now
Yeah, but then Blossom says she's going to give her the benefit of the doubt because she's freaking out so much.
because they were drinking coffee all night, right? And Six
Yes.
says everyone gets sleazy when they're jumped full of caffeine. And I pressed pause and leaned back and I go, "Is that true, Sal? Is that true? Is that what's wrong with me?"
It might be.
Also, who can't go home? Who can't go home? Is it Six's mom? Is that what Nick is whispering to her as he has her tied up in the motel bathroom right now?
You can't go home.
Anthony comes home. It's not Anthony. I don't know. Who can't come home?
You can't.
What the hell's happening? Alice is in the kitchen, and Buzz has a soul. He's worried about Alice.
The scene starts with Buzz sitting on the couch playing a Game Boy.
Is he?
Yeah, you didn't notice that?
I completely missed that. I must have been writing.
And then Tony comes back in from his call, and then Buzz asks Tony, what will happen to Alice if they can't find out who she is?
That's really sad.
Yeah, right?
What will happen to her is a sad question.
Yeah, but like what I liked about that was that like Buzz wasn't making cheesy jokes. He was like genuinely
Yeah,
concerned about
no,
her.
that's what I mean. That's like a general concern.
Yeah.
Like when you ask what's gonna happen to someone, that's a pretty heavy question.
Right?
Yeah, he's worried about Alice. And she comes in humming Moon River. And then they suddenly get in her face and they try to tell her to remember. They're like, remember. She's like Dory.
Never seen the movie, but yeah. They start doing this like 20 questions bit.
Yeah.
Where she's like, I have a memory. And they're like, oh, is it a household object? Is it used every day? Is it whatever? And then Alice just suddenly forgets what they're doing altogether.
Like Dory.
All right. And then I guess this is supposed to be comedy.
It wasn't really. It was pretty tone deaf. So then Joey saves the seed. He comes in and he thanks her for helping him with his paper. And she says, Joey, you're a good boy. And I wrote, Jesus Christ, Joey, go live with Alice.
Right?
She's the only person who has ever been nice to you on this show. Alice says he reminds her of her grandson and then rattles off her grandson's phone number.
Yeah, so they start questioning her on that. She says he lives in San Diego. And then, yeah, she gives him his phone number and then his car phone number and his fax number. So 2 out of those 3 things are irrelevant now. And then eventually she doesn't remember his name or the fact that she has a grandson.
Luckily, Anthony's memory is airtight because he remembered all the numbers.
Yes. So he gives him a call, asks him if they're looking for someone, and then tells him that he picked her up and that he's at their house. And he tells them that they live at 8679 Eagle Ridge, Studio City, California. And that checks out. There is an Eagle Ridge Lane in Los Angeles.
We gotta go, Sal.
Let's do it.
Road trip.
We'll take pictures of it outside of it like it's the Full House house, except it won't mean anything to anyone.
We'll sit crisscross applesauce on the lawn and do a podcast from there.
Nice. So yeah, Alice asks if it was Jack on the phone. Tony says, no, Billy. And then Alice says, oh, good, I hate Jack. Or do I hate cheese? Yeah, right?
Ends on a low note for her.
So she apparently got on a bus and got confused from San Diego, and her real name is Elizabeth, and there's a really nice moment here with her and Buzz again.
Yeah, I was kind of over it at this point, I'll be honest. After the cheese thing, I was like, get into the pit, Grandma.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just went to the well one too many times. Banger of a Too Many Cooks track suddenly.
Six is still awake. She's sitting in the window in Blossom's room, and then she wakes Blossom up to ask her, what if her parents don't get back together? And then there's a whole thing, I don't know if you took notes on this, but I basically said that Blossom says you eventually stop caring.
Yeah, it's not a bad scene. Blossom says, yeah, eventually you'll stop hoping they'll get back together. And then they head downstairs for breakfast. It's long, it's pretty good. Again, I can't relate. It's so mind-blowing that statistically neither of our parents are divorced, Sal. Because I know way more people who have divorced parents than not. I know more people who are divorced than not, like my age.
Yeah, it's true. It's the morning. Blossom and Six are asleep at the kitchen table. Nick comes in the door with a box of motherfucking dunks.
Yeah. Which is funny because he's been dunking Six's mom all night. And let's be honest, there's nothing better than some post-sex dunks. Nick's got it down. You know? You're driving away and you're just like, God damn, the only thing that could be better would be some dunks. There's a commercial there, right? Someone reaches for a cigarette, rolls over to the other side of the bed, and there's just a box of 12 dunks. Crueler. Could this night get any crueler? Boston cream.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
I was thinking of something because they call their Timbits donut holes there.
Oh, no. Well, that's just lowbrow.
Yeah,
That's
there's
lowbrow
something.
stuff.
Oh, come on. Oh, Boston cream guy. Boston cream.
I'm disappointed. What? That's a family donut.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, your Boston cream joke was real high society.
Okay, so we've covered Nick had sex and then got some Dunkin' Donuts. So hashtag perfect night.
Six wakes up and starts grilling Nick immediately. She's like, "Where's my mom?" And he's like, I dropped her off at home. And she's like, "You just like abandoned her at home or whatever?" And he's like, "I didn't throw her out of a moving car." And then I wrote, "Yeah, because her name ain't Arlene McCafferty."
Yeah. Threw her out of the car in front of the abortion clinic. Yeah. I wrote, "It gets all Sunny Philly Christmas special," and Six is like, "Charlie, did you f*** my mom? Did you f*** my mom?" Nick says, "Let me put your mind at ease. We flew to Vegas and got married." I said, "Yeah, that's good stuff." And then he goes, "Yeah, I'm actually joking because I'm not romantically interested in your mom."
Yeah, pretty much.
Ow!
Six like starts strangling him, and then she calls him an unemployed musician.
Yeah, I wrote Vaughn always overacting here, but the dialogue isn't really that great to like. The dialogue kind of sucks, so she's doing what she can with it.
Yeah, so basically Nick is just saying, yeah, he's just, helping her through the tough time, and it is what it is. And then she makes him swear on Blossom's head that nothing happened. So he did. He said he was just helping her out. And then she apologizes to him for calling him an unemployed musician, and Nick says, "Yeah, I'm not thrilled about it either."
Yeah. And then he says, "Is it warm in here, ladies?" And he pulls out Six's mom's panties from his jacket pocket and dabs his forehead and walks out.
Yeah. So Nick just leaves. And then Blossom and Six start saying that it's probably better off that they're not sisters. They'll get annoyed of each other after doing everything together. And then they go on to plan out their entire day while the credits play.
Yeah, I said after an amazing episode, that's the ending they chose to go with.
Yeah. Not great, but yeah,
No.
overall, it was okay. It was a pretty good episode.
Do you have anything else before we run into the credits?
No, I'm good.
Gail Edwards as Sharon. Is she a Pitt character, Sal? Do we ever see Six's mom again?
We do. She does return.
Nice.
Did you recognize her?
I wrote she's known for her role as Dot Higgins in ABC's It's a Living, so no.
What?
Sharon Lemire. Oh no, sorry, that's what? Did I read?
No.
Maybe that was Six's mom. Maybe I cut and pasted the wrong thing.
No, that was Six's mom. Sharon Lemire was Gail Edwards.
Yeah. Oh, okay, sorry, yeah.
And I would say her most famous role was Vicky on Full House. She dated Danny Tanner.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I did not retain a whole lot of Full House, I'll be honest. Like, I know the basics, and I know the, like, important episodes, like, there's a car in the kitchen.
Vicky was a pretty big character.
That was kind of later, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was definitely later on.
The later seasons are kind of blurry to me.
Yeah, all
When
right.
There's, like, 27 people living in that house.
Yeah.
Anne Gilbert was Elizabeth.
Yes. So she was famous. She was on Dick Van Dyke Show. She was on the new Andy Griffith Show. I recognize her. She was Evelyn on Seinfeld. Her most recent role was on the sitcom Life in Pieces in 2016, and she died shortly after that.
She was in Life in Pieces? Have you watched that show?
I watched a little bit of it, yeah.
It's pretty good. It grows on you.
I liked it.
It takes you a while to like wrap your head around what they're doing, but it when it lands, it's really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was 56 episodes of The Nanny.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. She was. She was the mother.
All right, man. We really, like, for trying to rein it in these last few times, this one really came off the rails hilariously a bunch of times, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, this is a good one. As I said, I had a lot of notes, so I'm glad we got through all of them. Next week, we're talking Season 2, Episode 12, called This Old House.
All these generic titles are starting to run together.
Yeah, just like the synopsis.
There's probably one called You Can't Go Home to This Old House.
Don't know. Don't know. Don't know.
This is the episode they pull the trigger if Anthony falls off the wagon and he thinks he's dating Justine Bateman, who's some 80-year-old woman. Oh my god. They missed the boat on the greatest Blossom episode possible.